What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to be making a healthy lasagna. This is a bit lower calorie and higher protein than your typical lasagna. I actually used to make this dish all the time when I was a student living by myself, because it's such an easy dish to make, and I just like divided it into 4 or 6 or something, and I had like dinner or lunch for a couple of days ahead. So yeah, I thought why not make it again today, because I haven't made it in ages. And show you guys so you can get some inspo for a higher protein dinner or lunch. What you're gonna need for this recipe is ground beef, some wraps. I'm using potato wraps, light cottage cheese, some shredded cheese, tomatoes, tomato puree, onion, and a bunch of spices, and also a oven-proof dish. Mine is 20 times 20 centimeters, but you can use whatever like size dish you want, and you can also adjust all of the ingredients. You can also throw in a bunch of other ingredients in there. I'm going to show you after making this how I input it into MyFitnessPal and how I track it. That way you can also modify it to your needs if you have other ingredients. But yeah, let's get started. Or I will not be wearing a white shirt for this, so there you go. I know myself, and cooking with a white shirt is never a good idea. And I also put my hair back because I hate having hair in my face. I cut my hair the day before yesterday, I think. So it's pretty short now. I feel like I always do a summer cut right before summer, just to get, it feels so much fresher, and it also, I get more wind in it when it's short. So that feels nice during summer. Let's get started. First, you want to cook your ground beef. I'm using 500 grams, but as I said, you can just modify the measurements to whatever fits you. While the ground beef is cooking, I'm just going to cut up my vegetables, and I'm measuring everything out. If you want to track this whole recipe, you have to measure everything out raw. So you measure the ground beef raw, you measure all of this raw, and you just write it down, and I'll show you later how you put it into MyFitnessPal. I'm using tomatoes today, but you can also use like chopped up tomatoes in a tin that you can like get like pre-cut if you want to use that. I just had some tomatoes in the fridge, so I want to use those up. Also, no rules to how you cut this. I just cut it into decent sized pieces. So those 4 tomatoes actually ended up being 400 grams, exact like on the dot. So 400 grams of tomatoes. Then cut up the onion. I hate chopping onion, so I will try to be quick. Oh, slippery. You should not be quick. Be careful when working a knife. Do as I say, not as I do. Oh, I made it without tearing up. I could feel it coming right now, but I just finished. Okay, so that ended up being 250 grams. I feel like there's such like a big echo here. Have I been out of frame this whole time? Since I hope to have this video up today, I will try to be quick when editing it. So if the quality is bad, then excuse me. But I assume the message will still come through. Okay, is there anything else I need to do now? No, you just need to cook the beef. Then when you don't need to cook it all the way through, because it's going in the oven in the dish as well. So, or you know what I'm gonna do? Because my pan isn't that big, I think I'm going to cook like in increments. So I'm cooking the beef now. When that's cooked to about medium plus, I'm going to just set that aside and then cook the onions, because I do like that the onions are well cooked. Then I add the tomatoes to the mix. When all of that is like cooked down and tender, I will then add the beef again. When the ground beef is added, you want to add the other ingredients. So starting off with tomato puree. Here I have 100 grams, but I love the taste of tomato puree. So if you want it a bit milder, you can use less, or you can mix it in with ketchup. Or if you want it even stronger, you can mix it with salsa or a chili sauce or something. The options are endless, so do as you please. But I'm adding 100 grams of tomato puree, and I will taste it as well, and if I want more, I'll add more. But yeah, 100 grams of that, and your spices of choice. I have chosen to use garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, chili powder, pepper, Provence, which is like kind of Italian spice, very similar to oregano. And I'll add oregano and salt. But again, the options are endless. Use whatever you like. And in my opinion, you can be really heavy-handed with the spices. I feel like I can add so much, and afterwards, I always feel like I could have added more. You know what? I think I'm going to be a little bit crazy today and add some hot sauce as well. I really like this one. This is First We Feast. I think, yeah, this is one of the hot sauces we had, like a hot wing challenge in our Vlogmas last year. So if you want to see us do a hot wing challenge and you haven't seen that, then I will link it. But yeah, this is Los Calientes Barbacoa. And I feel like this has kind of a barbecue flavor, so I really like this one. So I'm gonna try to add some. Might regret this because I'm kind of a wuss when it comes to hot stuff, but I did that challenge pretty well, so I should try to be a bit more adventurous with the hot sauces, I think. Oh my god, that gives it such a good smell. Oh my god. Maybe barbecue sauce would be good in this as well, or like some Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. I think I'm gonna taste that. That is actually good. I forgot salt. And I'm just gonna have a bit more garlic powder. When come to think of it, I think I usually have some like garlic cloves in there as well, but I didn't have that now, so, but that would probably be so much better. Garlic cloves makes everything better. You do get like a slight hint of the barbacoa. Yes, now we're talking. It is really thick now, if you can see. Like most of the liquid has gone out and it's starting to become really thick. So that's when I want to turn it off. And we're going to start to plate this. For like the pasta layer, I'm using potato wraps. These are very common in Norway, but I've understood that they're not very common abroad. I thought this was like an international thing, but yeah. These are wraps that are made from like potatoes and flour, but you can use whatever like wraps you want. So that's what I'm using in the layers. So I'm having like the meat layer, then wraps, then cottage cheese, then meat, wrap, cottage cheese, meat. You want to start and end with the meat layer, and then you have cheese on top. I'm not really sure how many layers to do, but I do think that I want to have 2 layers of the wrap. It's been such a long time since I've done it, so I don't remember. I cut them in half so that they fit better into the dish. So yes, let's just plate this up. And I just want to have this said as well. I know a lot of people don't like cottage cheese. Even if you don't like it, you don't really taste the cottage cheese in this, and you don't really get the texture of it either, because it all blends together with everything else. It just adds like a slight cheese flavor, like you can barely taste it, but it also adds a lot more protein, so that's why I'm using cottage cheese in it. So I would recommend you to try it, at least. I'm gonna zoom you in closer, I think, for you to see what I'm doing. Okay, you can see it there, I think. Don't mind Buddy, he's always announcing his presence. We do cut his nails very regularly, just so you know. They grow out extremely fast. Okay, so I have weighed this dish beforehand, so I know what this weighs. That's important. So go ahead and weigh this before you put anything in it. So yeah, we're starting off with a thin meat layer, just making sure that it almost covers the bottom of the pan. I'm always scared to use too much in the first layer because I don't want to run out and have to do it all over again. So like this. Then I'm topping it off with the wraps. I'm just pulling off some of the side there to put that there. Then we're going in with the cottage cheese. And I have a box of 400 grams of this, and I will use the entire thing. Just try to distribute that evenly. Come to think of it, have I showed you this recipe before? I feel like I have. I hope I haven't. Well, if I have, then I'm sorry to you guys who have been following me for a long time, but I don't think I have, and if I have, it's such a long time ago. Like so. Then a new meat layer. Oh damn, I should have preheated the oven. Okay, preheat the oven. I'm going to go do that now. You want to preheat it to 180 Celsius. I think it's 350 Fahrenheit, but I'll have it on the screen for you guys. This layer can be a bit thicker because I will only have one meat layer after this, so this can be a bit thicker. And I see now that I could have had the bottom layer even thicker as well, but yeah, you learn. Okay, that's the second meat layer. Then I'm going in with more wraps, just cutting them in half first. Do not cut on your kitchen counter. Use a board. Just couldn't be bothered. And as before, I just rip off a part here. It's just my OCD needs to see all of these corners covered. So then we're going in with cottage cheese. I also see now that I could have had the other cottage cheese layer thicker, but as I said, you learn. If you do like this, you can make it several times and it can be better and better for each time you're making it. I used to be better at making this when I made it more regularly, but it's been at least 2 years, I feel like, since I made it now. I love cottage cheese. I don't often use it in savory dishes like this, but it's... Oh, that's my phone. Well, she's gonna have to wait. Yeah, what I was gonna say. Yeah, I don't usually use it in savory dishes. I love cottage cheese with strawberry jam. I could have that every single day as a snack. But yeah, in this dish, it's delicious. So now I'm going over with the final meat layer. Now you're going in with cheese. I have bought shredded cheese. Usually I would just buy a block of cheese and shred it myself, but because of time today, I'm using pre-shredded. So I'm just gonna make sure that this has a nice coating of cheese on top. This is also a light cheese, so this is like a lower fat cheese with, or I think it's a mix of low fat cheese and mozzarella. Okay, I'm tempted to stop here because it's at exactly 100 grams. So maybe I'll stop here. It looks good, right? Yes. So 100 grams of cheese. He's so annoying. And the fact that he's that cute just makes him even more annoying. So now this is going into the oven for I don't know how long, but I will let you know how long my oven takes. I just want the cheese to be golden and everything to be melted. That's the most important thing. I'll let you know, but every oven is different, so just watch it and just make sure that the cheese isn't burnt. In the middle rack, the rack in the middle. I just assume that if nothing else is said, it's always the middle rack. While that is in the oven, why don't we just start inputting everything into MyFitnessPal? And I'll show you how I do that. In MyFitnessPal, you can go to, oh yeah, I have MyFitnessPal in Norwegian. Yeah, I guess you will be able to understand. You go into meals, recipes, and food. I'm assuming that's what it is in English. And you make new recipe. You name the recipe lasagna, and for now we're just putting portion 1, and you will change that when you're finished. So you go to add ingredients and you start adding all the ingredients you put in. So there, I put in everything except the chili sauce and the spices. So that's ground beef, wraps, cottage cheese, tomatoes, onion, tomato puree, and cheese. And then after that, you want to go here, and if you do want to just divide the whole dish into 4 or 6 or whatever number you want to divide it, you would just do that. You would just go in here and set on portions, you would set 4. And then you know that 1/4 of the whole dish is 398 calories. It's 13.2 fat, 23.8 carbs, and 45.7 protein. So it's a high protein dish, as I told you. That's what you could do. That's the easiest thing to do. But if you want to be more specific and you want to like weigh out the portions and maybe have a smaller portion one day and a larger one the next day, then you would have to put in the weight of the lasagna. So the lasagna without the tin. So that's why we weighed the oven-proof dish beforehand, because now when you take the whole thing out, you just weigh it and you subtract the weight of the oven-proof tin, and then you get the weight of whatever's inside. So you input that, the weight of the entire thing. Let's just say the whole thing is 1,000 grams. Then you put in 1,000 grams on portions, you save it, and when you then go on your diary and you input the recipe, you go into the lasagna, you can weigh out your portion. Let's say you're having 200 grams that day. So you input that, then 200 grams of the lasagna is 318 calories, 19 carbs, 10.6 fat, and 36.6 protein. That's how you do it. I hope that was understandable. If not, just type your questions below and I will answer. But yeah, that's how I input all my recipes. And I usually just take the weight of the entire thing so that I can measure out when I'm eating it. Okay, so it ended up being 25 minutes in my oven. It was a bit longer than I thought, but it took some time for the cheese to become golden. This is how it looks. You can even hear it sizzling in there. This needs some rest, because if you start cutting into it now, it will just pour out. It needs time to set. So I'm thinking you can even leave it for maybe half an hour or something, I think. I will just let it set for a bit and then I will weigh it. Okay, so the lasagna has cooled now. I'm just gonna weigh this entire thing and find out the weight of the lasagna. Okay, so the lasagna weighs 1,539 grams. So as I showed you before, you just go into the portions on the recipe and you just input 1,539. And now you can just take out a piece, weigh the piece you're taking out, and just input that when you're adding it to your diary, and it will give you the exact macros for that portion. So this looks so good. And we actually have some fresh basil and arugula here, so I think I'll put some of that on top for a nice thumbnail. Yeah, it looks a bit better with the green, with some green on top. I need to make a thumbnail, so excuse me for a second. But yeah, that's my healthy, high protein lasagna. I hope you test it out, and if you test it out, I really hope you like it. Drop a comment below if you test it out and how you find it. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't. I would highly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.